during public comment for the project.
Okay. Good evening, sorry, commissioners and everybody. I'd like to call our meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. And Commissioner Mobley, will you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Bennett,
Present.
Commissioner Burke,
Present.
Commissioner Doris,
Here.
Commissioner Mobley,
Here.
Commissioner Nichols, Vice Chair Kine,
Here.
Chair Halley.
Here. Okay, could I get approval of minutes from June 11th, 2024?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 11th, 2024.
Seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do?
And then you would say, all in favor.
Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 3, we'll get some oral comments from the public. Members of the public may be heard on any item of interest not on the agenda. Speakers addressing the commission will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Be advised that by law, the commission is not able to deliberate or take action on issues presented during oral comments.
We don't have anybody online. Okay.
I move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our number 4 is our business.
Okay, thank you, Chair Halley. Today we have a public hearing to consider the approval of an amendment to the conditional use permit resolution P-80-86 to allow the conversion of an existing commercial building into 4 residential units and to increase the total number of mobile home and overnight spaces to 51 at 365 North Fortuna Boulevard. Let's start with the presentation. This is the amendment to the conditional use permit for the Fortuna Mobile Home and RV Park. As you can see, it's located to the east side of North Fortuna Boulevard, just south of the Ronerville Road, Main Street, Fortuna Boulevard intersection, and just north of Smith Lane. It's centrally located in a commercial area with shopping centers and other commercial uses surrounding. And this top picture is a photo of the structure that will be converted to the residential units. Most folks here know it as the former Johnny's Cookhouse or the former Mi Rancho. And the photo on the bottom is the vacant commercial structure that will be demolished to allow for parking for the new units and for greater access for fire apparatus and trash trucks to get into the trailer park. Resolution P-80-86 was approved by the Planning Commission in 1980. It granted a conditional use permit for the Fortuna Trailer Village to allow the continued operation of 48 occupied mobile homes and overnight spaces. And the proposed conditional use permit amendment will bring the total number of units into conformance and allow the commercial building conversion to residential units. With this amendment to the resolution, the existing 51 spaces will be brought into conformance. Over the years, the original 48 spaces have been modified and shifted around to where there's now a total of 51 spaces. And as I said, it will allow the conversion of the existing commercial building to be converted to those 4 residential units and the demolition of the neighboring vacant commercial structure. Any exterior changes to the project will be subject to design review as it is a commercial structure. And then I will have the Planning Commission add a condition of approval to the resolution that the applicant will work with the California Department of Housing and Community Development to amend the permit to operate. The Fortuna Municipal Code sections governing the project are Section 17.07.060 that creates procedures for accommodating conditional uses with special site or design requirements, operating characteristics, or for projects that may have the potential to cause adverse effects on surrounding properties. And then Section 17.03.022D allows for residential uses in the commercial thoroughfare zone with a use permit. We've done an analysis of the project and determined that the existing residential uses and the proposed new residential uses are conditionally permitted in the commercial thoroughfare zone. The city of Fortuna is in need of additional housing units, and this will expand the number of residential units within an existing mobile home and RV park. The project is also consistent with the general plan land use designation. The proposed project is consistent with the corridor mixed-use land use designation in that it includes converting a single-story commercial structure oriented towards Fortuna Boulevard into 4 residential units and allowing 3 additional mobile homes or overnight spaces. These are the various general plan goals and policies that the project is consistent with, and I'm not going to read through all of those. Those are included in your packet in your staff report. The environmental review, the project is exempt from CEQA under Section 15332, Class 32, categorical exemption as an infill project. The Class 32 exemption may be used for infill housing approvals for projects that are on sites of less than 5 acres within city limits surrounded by urban uses, as this project is. There really isn't a ton to say about this project, so we'll get to the Planning Commission action. The Planning Commission will review the staff presentation and ask any questions of staff, open public comment, close public comment, and then we will do a voice vote for the motion to adopt Resolution P-2024-3113 and read by title only. And it actually will not be a voice vote. It will be a roll call vote for that.
3114.
3114, correct.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns from my fellow commissioners?
Said you had a letter?
I do, yes, to read during the public comment. When we open that up. Sure.
Go ahead.
Looking at this map, where on this map are these additional sites, spots going to be for the?
The additional RV sites are existing. We're just bringing them into conformance. The original resolution only allowed 48 sites, and then the new units will be converted. The commercial building will be converted.
So we're just gonna tell them it's okay to have them. I mean, they're not creating more spaces, they are already using them.
Yes, yes.
My other question is, this is going to go before design review?
If there's
of
any
the
external,
building?
yeah, if there's any external changes to the building, they'll need to come back before the Planning Commission for design review.
But if they don't make changes, just turn them into, if there's no external,
If there's no external changes, then there's nothing for us to review. But the building permit will be processed by the city because the commercial building is under the jurisdiction of the city. The park is under the jurisdiction of HCD, so they would issue a building permit if it were for something within the park.
so since they're resident units, are they going to be held to the same criteria new buildings would be as far as the
Yes.
design and the shape of the set?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes, it will need to meet the current California building codes for residential structures. So whatever they need to do to convert that structure,
And my question wasn't about the building code, it was about the design of the building itself.
the design would need to meet our design standards as far as lighting and things like that. However, because we do need additional housing units, we're not going to have them follow the design standards as if it were a new building, because it is an existing building.
Not going to be following it.
They'll be following most of them, but we're not going to have them tear up concrete and put landscaping in and things like that.
I was thinking more
Brian,
about roof
can you
lines. and things like that.
speak into your microphone?
I was thinking more about roof lines and about the things that we've talked about in other structures that were being approved, as far as it not just being, a single plain roof and a single.
We likely will not hold them to a new construction standard because it is an existing building and we do need the housing units. So we wouldn't want to add, that level of expense to the project to where it would no longer pencil out and not happen. So any external changes would be subject to design review, but we're not going to hold them to the level of design standards as if it were a new construction building.
And I just had a question, just out of curiosity on that design review. So what triggers design review? Is like if a color change? Or is there a certain metric that triggers?
A color change could trigger design review. We do have an established color palette that if a commercial structure stays within that palette, they're not subject to design review. If they want to step outside of that palette, then we would bring them to design review. Minor maintenance items are not necessarily design review. It's unfortunately not spelled out in black and white, as you as a planner know. The municipal codes give us a lot of vagaries. So things like changing building sidings and things like that, it depends on the level of, there is a bit of interpretation there.
It just depends.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and luckily, because this is a commercial structure, the building permit will come to the city for processing, so we'll take a look at the plans at that time and determine whether or not it needs to go to design review.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions or comments?
There's a structure in the center of the park, I believe it's 43 is the spaces. Obviously, that's a permanent structure. Is there anything being done with that? It's a 2-story, looks like possibly apartments.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. I do know that when the current owners took over, they've made quite a bit of changes to the park and done quite a bit of cleanup. And from what I understand, they did renovate those apartments
Okay.
a few years ago, but that did not come before the city because it was under the jurisdiction of HCD.
So by demolishing that the new building, old building, sorry, the commercial building, to give more parking, and then we're going to give more space access, why does the building have to go if you already have space access? Just wonder, because it's just what I'm looking at and what I'm picturing in my mind is seeing a whole bunch of cars parked out on Main Street and being able to see more into the trailer park, that although I applaud whoever the new owner is for cleaning up a lot of it, but it still has its issues and problems that we all know about. I'm just seeing a whole lot more cars parked out there than, not having looked so pretty. Yeah, yes, I guess I'm gonna put it that way. For lack of
Well,
better terms.
we don't have any requirements for screening at this point for that. We can look into that when we get to the building permit stage, when they come in for their demo. They do need to demo the building. From what I understand, there is not currently enough parking for the conversion. For the 4 new units, we would require additional parking, and so that's the way that they're creating
What I'm
that.
asking is, you're asking for more spaces into the park that are obviously already there, and then we're going to add more spaces for parking. So if you need more spaces for trailers, then you already have spaces for parking.
They're not adding those additional spaces. Those additional spaces are already there. We're just bringing them into conformance. They were allowed 48, and somehow, since 1980, it's worked its way up to 51.
So we're adding more spaces.
Theoretically, yes. Yes. So there will be, that structure, I believe, is roughly 3,000 square feet. I think I did the math. It could create up to 12 parking spaces, maybe not with access to all of them. But the requirements for the new residential units, the 4 units, as a 2-bedroom, there would be a requirement for 1 space per apartment. So they'll only be required 4 new spaces, but they'll be creating more than that. So there will be some additional parking.
I see that. And for what may or may not be parked there. Are we going to have that kind of conversation too? What can be parked in those spaces?
It should be parking for
Vehicles.
the vehicles for those residential units.
Yeah, not trailers, not mobile homes.
No.
In-use vehicles.
Yes.
Again,
Permanently parked.
I'm just, again, we've all seen the issues that are there. And again, I do applaud the people that have cleaned it up. It's way better than what it has been. But again, we still have issues. So looking at being able to see more of those issues doesn't seem right in my world, but I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
Well, we do have a representative from HCD that we were in contact with a few years ago before the new owners took over, when things had gotten pretty rough. Unfortunately, the city doesn't have code compliance jurisdiction over the park, but we can work with HCD to be sure that the park is in compliance.
Since there's 12 additional parking spaces being created in addition to the 1 handicap parking spaces there, they say they're only required to have 4. Could we ask for some of that space to be used for screening?
We could, yes.
Have a look at a design that gives us at least a partial screening from the street that maybe is in front of those parking spaces or between the new parking space area and the park that's fine.
We could work with the applicant for that.
I would like to see that.
Okay.
As well.
Will they be required to do any covered parking, or is it all uncovered?
It's interesting because they don't quite fall under multifamily, but they also don't quite fall under the mobile home park regulations. Generally, if there is not covered parking, then they are required to provide some sort of storage. So that's something that we can work with the applicant as well during the building permit process.
I understand about the trailer parking, but when you're converting this building into 4 units, that certainly is a multifamily dwelling at this point. I mean, there's no way around seeing it that way. And it's not that now. They're asking for it to be converted to that.
Yes.
So I do think that covered parking, in my mind, it should be required just like any other multiple.
Covered parking is not required for multifamily. They are allowed to have uncovered parking, but they do need to provide a certain square footage of covered storage.
Covered storage. Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, I would certainly think that would be,
Yes, and that's something we can work with the applicant when they submit their building permit.
Does the city have any plans for street trees along the sidewalk there? Is there any maintenance activities that could potentially be maintained by the city but provide some visual screening?
We do not have any plans for street trees. a few years ago, a little before my time, there was a presentation. Staff had, checked with city council to see if they were interested in street trees, mainly in the Main Street area, and there was not interest, but as a citizen, if you would like to see street trees, you could certainly contact the city council.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to see it look differently because it doesn't look the greatest. So when it is turned into residential units, I hope it has some kind of cosmetic beauty and we can vote on it.
That's my feeling too. I'm very much in agreement with this. I think it's great for the housing units and making the changes I'm in favor of. I would like to see it prettied up a little bit. Either if we
Well-
can't put our trees in there, then
Yeah.
maybe we ask for a little landscaping. in front
They,
of
they
it.
do have a bit of landscaping there, and we can certainly work
I'm
with
doing
the
it.
applicant to, do as much, as cost-effective beautification as they can.
Some greenscaping and some.
Yes.
and some screening.
Yes.
Parking would be-
Okay. Okay, if everyone's okay, we're going to open up to public comment.
Do we have anybody online? No. Okay.
I'm just here from the park, I'm the regional manager, and so I just
Can you
have
come
some
up there?
questions I could answer.
Can you come up there, please, to the microphone?
Okay. Hi, I'm
Yay.
Jessica. I'm the regional manager, and I live on site there. If you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer any
Yay.
questions you might have. So I don't know if you do, if that's an option.
Well, questions that have been brought up are whether or not there's going to be any kind of screening in
I
front
like
or
that
behind the
idea,
parking
honestly,
area.
because there is some unsightliness sometimes that are still going on that I would like to fix right away, but HCD and California state law doesn't let us fix right away. So working with the residents, I think some screening would be in order. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on I think it would be the east side, east side, when going in, we put up a wood fence to block the first row that you see there. And I think maybe mirroring that on the other side could possibly be an option.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we like greenery. I love greenery,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, I'm saying is it being a more attractive entrance into your
I think that would,
establishment?
and that can only draw more residents. And that's what I'm really striving for, to get great quality residents.
Yes, and then the citizens will see it as an improvement.
Exactly, and that's what I want to.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of everything you guys brought out today, of maybe making it screened a little bit more for things that are not really enforced at the moment, but need to be, when they go to the courts, of course, it will be taken care of then. But until then, it's a notice issue. So it's something that we need to work on a little bit more diligently.
Good, thanks.
But I think we will, and we will make you guys impressed by what we will do.
Nice.
Does anybody else have anything?
No, I'm happy, we're happy you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie, were you going to read a?
Yes, so I have a letter from a neighboring business owner. It states, "To whom it may concern, my name is Ashley Burt, owner of Ashley's Holistic Massage located at 331 North Fortuna Boulevard, Simply Gorgeous," and that is the business that is directly to the south of the vacant building that will be demolished. I would like to address the building that's proposed to be demolished adjacent to my place of business. I am aware that if it is approved, it may cause a huge problem with my income, considering no one will want a massage during such noise. I ask for either respect of being quiet during my business hours, which I will list, or compensation for lack of being able to work. Thank you so much for your time and understanding." And then she has her business hours listed and what her estimated income is during those hours. So if the Planning Commission would like to add, we do have a condition in the resolution that construction will take place during our normal construction hours. We don't have any additional restrictions during these hours. It looks like it's mainly 2 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, 9 to 4 are her business hours. So I believe our construction hours are 7 to 6, I think. So if you would like to add a condition to add further restrictions to the construction hours, you may do that, or you may discuss
I
among
would not
yourselves.
want to, but
I agree. But I would not restrict any
no.
beyond what you've already stated here.
I feel the same way, other than possibly I'd be willing to see the construction maybe stop a little bit earlier so that she could still have some afternoon, evening hours. But the rest of it, no, I wouldn't agree with that.
Hearing nothing else, motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so we would, with amendment added, an applicant will work with the California Department of Housing and Community and Development to amend their permit to operate. We'd like a motion to adopt Resolution P-2024-3114 and read by title only.
Okay. Resolution P-2024-3114, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna amending Resolution P-80-86 to allow the conversion of an existing commercial building into 4 residential units and to increase the total number of mobile home and overnight spaces to 51 at 365 North Fortuna Boulevard. Commissioner Bennett.
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Commissioner Doris.
Aye.
Commissioner Mobley.
No.
Commissioner Nichols. Vice Chair Kine.
Yes.
Chair Halley.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Okay.
approved. Congratulations. The next item we have on the agenda is Planning Commission staff communication. I don't have any specific communication for you folks. Likely, we will be canceling the next Planning Commission meeting, the first one for July. We have projects in the pipeline, but nothing quite ready to come before the commission in time for our public noticing requirements. So that likely will be canceled, but hopefully we'll be able to get something up for the second July meeting.
Great.
Is there going to be a going away party for Merit?
I would assume so.
Sorry to lose it.
Very, very. Our interim city manager, though, is very, very, very qualified, potentially overqualified, but we are lucky to have her overlapping with Merit. So we have a couple of weeks left with Merit, and she started on Monday, so they're coordinating. He's filling her in on the many, 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 many hats that he wears and many hands in the fires that he has.
Well,
Motion to close.
Seconded.